Hi, and welcome to Source Seers. I'm Love.
And I'm Tylynn. We're two Los Angeles-based witches who were brought together by fate with one mission.
To translate wisdom from Source and provide spiritual knowledge for the collective.
We're here to explore psychic stories, pop culture predictions, trauma healing, ancient knowledge, astrology, tarot, and so much more.
Source Seers is here to shine the spotlight on how the mystical realms are interwoven into the very fabric of our everyday lives.
Yeah!
Hi, welcome to Source Seers. If you're seeing us in the same continued outfit that maybe you've seen us before, that means this is a part 2 episode.
Yes.
So we cut this episode somewhere that made sense, hopefully, and we are just going to continue playing it right where it left off. So yeah, we hope you enjoy the second part and that you enjoy the podcast as a whole.
Yes.
All right, here's what you've been waiting for.
Yeah, well, the higher octave is that he's meant to cultivate a nurturing frequency within his outward appearance, his public connection, his connection to his career. So it sounds like he's lacking that internal self-nourishment and self-nurturance to be able to give that in a the public.
And I think that's why his friends kept talking about like needing to regulate your emotions. It's like he doesn't know how to give himself in the moment when he's having these big feelings and things.
His emotions are blown up. Look at that. His moon is opposing Jupiter.
Yes.
If you have your moon opposing Jupiter, or moon square Jupiter, or moon conjunct Jupiter, that means that your emotions show up in a big... think about Jupiter. Jupiter is a massive energy. Yeah. So massive. It's protective, it's abundant, but sometimes that energy of expansion can be overwhelming.
Yes. And that's pretty much what he does. Like, he just, like, flies off the fucking handle, and everyone's like, girl, like, calm down. Like, he was, like, in his place of employ trying to, like, literally physically fight another person on the show because he didn't like them.
But in a way, it can show up sometimes, like, it's almost like Aquarius moons can also be, in the unhealthy way, detached. So it might be, like,
unempathetic.
He's showing up to do these things, but, like, in a way out of his body.
So he would talk shit towards Brittany, but like have no empathy towards her. He'd be like,
that's the detached.
When she was going through like the issues with her stomach and drinking, he would be like, I don't know why you do this to yourself. I don't know why you even drank to begin with. Like, what are you doing? Like, that's so dumb. You know that you have an issue with this. Like, this is on you. Like, you can suffer by yourself. And she'd be like, I'm hurting right now, like, as your wife, like, can you give me some empathy right now and be there for me? And he's like, I've been there for you enough. I don't want to be there for you anymore. Like, he was like, we've talked about this so many times.
Dude, what?
Why do we need to keep talking about this? You know what your problem is, and yet you keep like persisting the problem. So that's on you. I don't need to be there for you anymore. Like, that's how he would treat her. And he'd be like, why are you making this into a big thing? Like, why are you ruining the stuff? Because, like, you're not listening to what you need to do. But then it's like, when it's time for him to be accountable, you know, where is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that piece, definitely. And I also, like, he has, like, what is that, like, the T-square?
Oh, the Grand Cross. Yeah.
The Grand Cross.
Yes, so he has a T-square both on these sides. Yeah.
So that's also, like, a big energy I've read in, like, astrology. Like a struggling piece, but can be powerful at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it does also indicate intensity in the person's character because they're here to overcome challenges and clear karma in this lifetime.
Yeah, and I think that in some ways he does, but I think that it's weird. It's like his growth is just like he goes longer in between making the mistake. Like, he still cheated on his wife. But early on in the relationship, and then as far as we know, hasn't done, you know? So it's like, but he cheated on his other relationship with Stassi, like, often, right? So it's like...
That's interesting, because he's falling back into where he's comfortable, which is the Pisces North Node, and then Eros is there. So like he's all good. I mean, we see that too with his 0 degree Libra ascendant. He's all good in his sensuality and his charm and his connection to pleasure. Yeah. So he's not growing there. Yeah. His North Node, however, is conjunct Saturn in the 12th house. And this is where Saturn rejoices. It's his favorite place to be because it is the house of isolation and the house of our unconscious. It is known also to be the house of our enemies, but that is a lot of times our internal enemies. So I also have this placement, Saturn in the 12th. And a lot of that is saying, hey, like your karmic duty in this lifetime is to clear unconscious fears and understand the behaviors and the patterns and how they're showing up in your life.
And I feel like that's where he struggles the most, and that's why he gets into all this problem.
It's so important for 12th house Saturns to spend time in solitude, to spend time in isolation, to really get to know themselves, to do like hypnosis work, meditative work. That is huge for 12th house Saturns.
And I feel like he avoids, like how the thing that we most need to do, we just kind of like keep avoiding that, whether it's conscious or not. Because like they're in this new season, like he's been cohabitating away from Brittany, and he was like, it's so lonely in the house by myself. Like it's so depressing and sad in the house by myself. Where like what you're saying is like that space should be beneficial for him. That should be where he's having these come to Jesus moments. It's
uncomfortable, the growth there.
Yeah, and I think that's the piece is like, that's why he seeks to have people around him that will like be with him no matter what, so that he doesn't have to be held accountable and he doesn't have to sit there. But like when people do call him out, he's like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, like people that he trusts obviously and he doesn't think are stupid. But like, so like they're able to be real with him at this. I think he's grown in that way where he's able to hear it now and able to like be present in it. So I think he does have growth. I think he's just like we've seen him on TV for like 10 plus years now. Like it's like you're taking the long route, right?
It's very dramatic with the Mercury Jupiter conjunction.
And the other thing that you were saying about his emotions, all the time when he flies off the handle, there's multiple like moments where I can pull up of him saying, I don't know, I blacked out. I saw red. Something came over me. My emotions got the better of me. Like, yes, it's like, it's like, boom, it's big. And it's like, maybe if he had more of that Saturn 12th house, more internal reflection, more looking at his behaviors and why they're showing up this way and sifting through it, he might be able to be more present when his emotions become so big because number one, hopefully he would have a grounded practice that would show him, like his friends are saying, emotional regulation, how to support yourself in the moment. But at the same time, like maybe they wouldn't feel so big because he would understand like where the emotional root is coming from a lot easier or quicker. And he wouldn't just like be like, oh, I just blacked out and like I can't control and change what already happened. Like, it just was my feelings are my feelings. And what can I do about that? And then he might move into a better place of like not having that be a cycle that pops up so much for him, because I just feel like he's like I feel like with the sun in the 10th house and like the Venus, it's like, that's what he's more concerned with. How do I look? How do I be perceived to other people? Like, am I being successful? Am I creating this lifestyle that I want to have? And so like when the emotional pieces come up, it's like it is a moment where he's like, oh, this is a lot and I want to deal with this, and like I do have feelings about this and I'm not really proud of this. But then like when other shit in his life is still going well because he's lucky, he's like, well, it's like one of those like where it's like a blip. Like he treats it as like, oh, that was a road bump. Oh, okay, glad we're past that. We can still continue on. Our car's not broken. I feel like it's kind of like that.
Well, here's the kicker. His ruling planet, Venus in Cancer, is in a sextile to Saturn and his North Node.
So he should be good at that.
Well,
he has a support to that.
He has a support, and the more time that he spends in solitude uncovering these patterns in his unconscious, the more it's going to support his career, his growth in the external realm.
Yeah. And I think that he, if I'm not mistaken, so obviously they filmed the season like, and then we see it like way later. So they filmed it like in the summer, I don't know, like of last year at this point, right? I think he went to rehab. I saw in something that they were talking about him going to rehab. So that would be a great place for him. That's
also a Saturnian thing of the discipline, creating the structure.
So I think
taking care of the health, the Virgo energy.
I think that would be really a beneficial place for him. And I hope like that if he's still in, he's not still in there because we saw him at the premiere. So it's like, I hope that he got a lot out of that and he maximized and soaked up all of that stuff that was available to him in that space. Because like, so the addiction that he had was cocaine. So like, and they now that, and he hid it for so long, but now that he's admitted to it, we can go back even to the other show, Vanderpump Rules, that he hasn't been on for years and see like still images where there's like white powder on his nose. Wow. Like, yeah. So it's like,
that's that Pisces South Node, though.
He was just comfortable. Yeah, moving into the comfortability, moving into the familiarity.
And that also with arrows there, like the amount of heightened senses. I've personally never done cocaine, but the way it's described.
My dad used to sell cocaine.
Wow. Okay. That's intense.
I've never done cocaine either, but I know a little bit more.
Well, also, though, I know sometimes, like, the media... Like sometimes the way that they portray cannabis is like, this is not... It's
like, girl, this is tame as fuck.
Like, what are you, like...
Like, you can't even overdose
like,
on
they're
weed.
Doing, like, the wall is turning to change. I'm like...
They're like, you're gonna never leave your couch again, and it's like...
So I actually don't personally have an experience to be able to share, but the way
cocaine is an upper. It makes everything like...
It's portrayed as that it's like your senses are heightened and... So,
and I think like that is like the worst thing he could do for himself, like being so intense in his chart, in his energy naturally. He shouldn't get an upper. He should get do cannabis. Like he should have a downer.
Yeah, more earthy, the Virgo energy. Take some microdoses. Like he
should be in things that like slow him down, that ground him. He should be doing meditation. He should be doing like yoga, sitting in nature. He should be reflecting, journaling. Like he should have all this. And I think like
be structured about it with Saturn.
Yeah. And I think like I don't know if the podcast that him and Brittany have together is like done now, because I saw he's been promoting this other podcast on his Instagram. So I don't know if it's like a new version or if it's just a second podcast he has now, because it's just him. And I feel like that is a space where he's like working out his Saturnian pieces in the 12th house. Like, because he's having active, like grounded conversations with other people about his actions that are being shown on TV as they're airing, about his life and what his decisions were. So I feel like that even is like good. But I feel like, again, the solitude that's needed, I think like he needs to have those like aha moments by himself and then share.
It's absolutely necessary, because the other part of the 12th house is that it connects us to the realms beyond the physical. So it is our connection to our guides. And I know that that's been a big part of it. What a huge part of my Saturn return is deepening my connection to the realms beyond the physical and receiving that guidance, which has led to this book that I've been writing. And same for him, but the way his access to it is through the earthly realms with that Virgoan energy. So it is like through his connection to being grounded and in his physical body. And it's so important for him to have that connection to his own internal guidance system. Yeah. In a way, again, that's practical. It's grounded.
And like arguably he doesn't have one, and or his main internal guidance system is just his ego. Which, like, the ego is important and necessary, but the ego wants to protect us from harm, from uncomfortability, from change. And so, like, when you listen solely to the ego, like, you won't have the growth that you need.
Especially if his ego is self-obsessed.
Right.
It's
ridiculous.
It's not where his soul's true growth is.
Yeah.
I feel like he also just psychically, he is in this lifetime clearing some ancestral patterns.
I can't remember, but in the beginning of the show, I think he has like kind of a rough childhood, like a rough upbringing.
Yeah, like I feel like he has ancestors that felt like they weren't able to share or speak up, and so it almost feels like it's heightened in his energy of like almost to an overload. Yeah.
So he's like carrying other stuff that he's not even aware.
Yeah.
Like, why is this even here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at their synastry together.
Okay, let's pull it up.
That was so funny. You're like, this is volatile. I was like, say less.
Wait, hold on. Where are you? Here you are. Okay.
Oh.
So I utilize the Davidson relationship chart method, which our episode should have already aired, where we go into our synastry together. So I think I explained that in that episode for you to go back. But
I was thinking of airing this before that one. So.
Okay, so let me do like an explanation. So there are lots of different ways that you can pull up relationship charts.
Yes.
So for me, I love to use a method called the Davidson relationship chart method, because it takes both charts, both people, and generates a midway point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
between their birth times.
Yes.
And they're like 10 years apart. So it's like
exactly. So
that
it's
5 year in the middle.
In the middle, which I love, because that chart will then reveal the purpose of the relationship dynamic. And you can do this for anyone, for friendships, for
dogs,
lovers,
for kids, anything.
Yep. So this is revealing their purpose. So they are an Aries sun up in the 10th house, which makes a lot of sense from everything I've heard thus far. Entrepreneur energy, career-based stuff. Building.
Moving forward, being like taking the action on the things, getting things done.
Yep. A Sagittarius moon. And the reason why I said like, whoa, they're volatile together is because they're Cancer rising. So their chart, it's also their Cancer rising in the 3rd decan, which is a decan ruled by the moon. So it's extra emotional. And their Sagittarius moon is conjunct the South Node and Uranus frequency.
So do you think... Go ahead.
Oh, they have a past life
That's connection. What I was literally just about to ask. They must have it. The South Node there. Past life. Past life.
They have a past life connection. They probably felt it immediately being in each
That's
other's
why
energy.
She was like, I'm going to move so quickly. I'm going to be with this person.
Yes. Very comfortable and familiar with one another. But that Uranus energy makes it volatile.
Yeah, sudden expansion and contraction and expansion and contraction. And that's argument, no argument.
Downs, it's shocks, it's changes, it's surprises, it's this feeling of the emotional state is never regulated. Like, it's just
say less. At least from what we've seen. And I know Brittany says like when they're good, but it's like he brings like so much bullshit into their, like, from himself, from others, from starting drama with others. It's like, how do you have a stable, consistent relationship? Let's say even like you're good with your partner at the home level, but then every time your partner goes out, they're starting some shit. Like, how do you even support someone who's just consistently doing that? Like, that's going to cause so many issues and, drop like so much in the relationship.
The way for their dynamic to work in a sustainable long-term capacity is for them to have rituals, routines. This is happening in the 6th house, the house of rituals, routines, is for them to have these rituals and routines that are devoted to their sense of fun, pleasure, expansive energy, adventure.
Yeah.
And they might need in their relationship dynamic variety, the Uranus things to be shifting and changing. To me, it feels very volatile, but if it works for them, if that's what they need to cultivate a long-term,
it's not working for them.
Partnership.
So in the end of last season, there's like a lot of drama in their relationship. In between the filming, they separated. So they were living in different homes. And so when we're seeing this new 2nd season, we just saw the 1st episode, they're like currently separated. And they are saying like on, like the thing where it's like on this season, like here's what to come. Like she's like, I filed for divorce. Like, and like there's a scene where it's like, you've been served papers. And she also is getting a restraining order. So probably likely still has a restraining order on him.
Wow.
So he's not able to like be with his child unless he's like supervised and like stuff like that. Yeah. So when you're like volatile, I'm like,
wow.
And I think that Brittany did try to find that way to work through, because consistently she has been like, let's try and work on it. And she even says in this first episode, like, even though we were separated, I still, above all, wanted to try and make this work out. You know, like when you have a child together, it's like, ideally you want it to work out. Like co-parenting in separate households is hard. Yeah. And it's not the dream that people have when they choose to create a child together.
Yeah.
And so I think that she did try, and she did try and give that like grounded earth patience to him, but he wasn't making the forward progress that she was asking him to do. Like he wasn't putting in the work to get rid of the cycles and behaviors that he was creating or bringing into their relationship that were not healthy. And so they started to get along a little bit better. But then because they were separated, they were allowed to see other people. And he found out she was like seeing one of his close friends, and he just got, that's when he flipped the table and he like hit her with it, and like on accident and stuff like that. And she was like, I don't feel safe around you now. I don't trust you now. Like, I don't like what, like, this is an agreement that we made. Like, why are you taking this so and he was like, any man would have reacted that way if they found out like their like wife was like hooking up with their friend. Like he was like, I'm not bothered that she's hooking up with people because we said that was allowed, but my friend, you know, like type of thing. So I feel like it's definitely the Leo. I've seen that with one of the other people who would be cool to pull up their chart from Summer House. He's a Leo, and like anytime his friends do something that doesn't include him, he can't handle it. Like he has like an alcohol beverage company, and his like friend's boyfriend that he's also friends with got into like a brand partnership with a different alcohol company, and he like got upset, and he was like, how does this reflect on my alcohol company? And it's like, it doesn't include your alcohol company at all. It doesn't affect it at all. It won't affect your sales at all. Like, I'm not sabotaging you. I'm just doing business with this other company that I like. And he like made it about him, and he was like, but why wouldn't you see how that would like affect me? And like, why aren't you like apologizing to me for doing this? Like, I thought you were my friend. And I think that's like the Leo piece that we saw in his chart too, is like, but how does that reflect towards me? And like, what does this mean for me? And like, I like, wouldn't you also feel that same way if you went through this, you know? And it's kind of like, you're just repeating the same old pattern.
That's because Leo is the lion, and lion energy craves to be in a pride, and they crave
it's called
to be
a pride.
Yeah, the leader of that pride. And if at any point they are not the leader or not included, it's really hurtful.
And that's Leo why he like had that issue with that new character that came into Vanderpump. I'm talking about James Kennedy, if anyone's curious. And he came in with, I'm the leader energy, and then Jax is like, who the heck is this little boy? Like, why is he coming into my territory and trying to like start shit and talk shit about me? You know? And it's like, yeah, he definitely has that like mentality. And like there were times when the two Tom friends were getting more, and like he would be upset, you know? Like, so I think I agree with you. I think for their relationship to actually work is slim chance. Like, so one of my gifts psychically is like seeing the probability of will a couple work out. Sorry, I randomly just was like, I'm curious about Tylynn and Josh, and it was like really interesting. It was in a good way,
Oh, I would like to know, because I actually had a wild experience with a client yesterday.
I just kept seeing these like, I felt this like flourishing, growing earth energy that kept like reaching out to each other, like vines reaching out to each other. So I feel like there's like this positive energy between you and Josh across lifetimes that's like, I want to reach out and like positively grow with this person. That was like, and so usually I see it at each timeline because, you know, we have free will, so we make this choice, it changes the timeline. There's a parallel universe going on, this timeline. So I see each timeline as like little strands, sort of like on a guitar, right? And then I see the probability, like I'll see like, okay, they'll highlight them as like different colors or groupings. And so it's like when someone's like, oh, are we going to work out together? Are we meant to be together? And I'll see all the strands appear. And then I'll see like, they'll show me the ones where they work out positively. And so then in my brain, I'm like doing math and estimating. And I'm like, oh, well, 20% of the probabilities of timelines you work out. And then the other 80%, it's like not either you don't work out or it's just like it's not working. Like you shouldn't be together. Like it's just there's gonna be issues. Yeah. And then like sometimes if it's like really slim, then they'll show like there's like very few timelines where it will work out, and they'll say like, but you need to have very specific exact like choices that are hit and made in order for it to work out. And if that doesn't happen, then it will fall to pieces. But and then on the other hand, sometimes I'll see where it's like, oh, you've been together in this many timelines and this many things like over and over again. Like it's for a reason. Yeah. Or it'll just feel like overwhelming, like only, you know, 5% where it doesn't work out. So yes, you're meant to be, you know, like that type of thing. Like that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, if there's like low probability of you not working out, then you're supposed to work out, you know, like if the odds are in your favor of you working out in many different choices that you make, then you're supposed to be together. Right. And so that's that. So I was seeing that for you, but then those vines were just like over, like on top of it. It was like, just like, doesn't matter what this is, we're still going to do it. So like, it felt like you're like, we're going to be here and every timeline we're going to find each other. And it like this, it's like some higher level soul reason is like stretching through. I feel like you in this lifetime, you needed that comfortability of knowing the partner through many lifetimes. And that the comfortability is like the biggest word that they're using for you and your needs, because I think what you've been through in this lifetime with having an abusive partner and stuff like that, and like family and issues, like I think like you just needed a partner where you could feel comfortable with. Yeah. And so like that's why I think like they're showing like God sent him to you, and because I don't think you see each other like in every lifetime, you know, type of thing. Yeah. Like my soulmate from my other lifetime that we like did the past life regression for is not in this lifetime. Or I'm not knowing them in this lifetime.
Yeah, we didn't know each other our last lifetime in the 60s because he died in the war and I died protesting. Yeah.
But they're saying like a part of your heart felt that, and that's why you were protesting the war. Yeah. So like, and I also feel like you died protesting, so it's like one of those like martyr things where it's like, he's not here, I'm not here. Oh God, yeah. But like without knowing actively, right? But like in terms of them and their timeline, it's like I see it as like Spirit's like, oh, this is a mess in the kitchen, like, oh my God. But then there's like this voice that's like, this will happen. Like, I feel like there was some part of like, it's like this very like Marsian energy that's like, I will make this happen. This has to happen. And I think their poor kid, I feel so bad for him.
They were karmically contracted to have this kid. They have Ceres, the mother goddess, on their MC and Saturn in the 5th house.
And then that's why I think it was like, and I've done a lot of theorizing psychically and connecting with spirit around like, why do certain people come together? What is the purpose? You know, because every relationship that we have, every interaction, there's a reason, a lesson. Yeah. And that's why I'm not a big believer in like people who are like dating to marry. They're like, it's such a waste of my time. I wasted all this time with this person and it didn't end up in marriage. And it's like, there was a lesson. There was a reason why you two were brought together, whether you created it because you needed to learn the hard way and you needed to go through certain things, or there was a karmic contract or whatever it is. Like there's lessons to be learned in everything, positives in everything. And the positive can be like the growth or the lesson, even if the relationship was complete garbage or abusive. And I'm not saying like, I'm not condoning those things, but I'm saying like there's stuff to be gleaned from every relationship. And that's how we look at it on a cosmic level from spirit. And so I feel like some people that get married, like my parents, and then have a kid and then get divorced after, I would like ask spirit, like, what is that? Or like people who have like a one night stand and then they have a child. There's actually a couple on the Valley on this show that they're from that they got married because of that, because getting pregnant from one night stand, which is shenanigans, because like they're like divorced now, but it's like the lady did not like him. It's like, why are you with this man? But I think that some people, their main reason for getting together is to fulfill the karmic contract of having a child.
So it's so interesting you're bringing this up, because just yesterday I had a client, I was giving her a little bit of Reiki, and her eyes, I was like, it kind of scared me a little bit. Her eyes popped open and she was like, I see a little boy next to you. And she thought that she was like crazy for seeing this, when really, like, I've had over 20 different healers, people who don't know each other, all see a little boy in my fields. And he always comes through like in a toddler form. Yeah, like dark hair, just like a really smart energy. And I do feel like, and also for Josh, like people have seen
a little boy.
So it does feel like it is a karmic contract, but the message that he kept sharing with my client yesterday was 2. He kept saying 2, and she was like, I don't know if that means 2 years, 2 months. What does that mean? And in my heart, I'm thinking, I feel like it means he wants 2 moms, because I don't know if I have the capacity in this lifetime to fully show up as the mom, because I'm so devoted.
When you're a healer,
I have my North Node in the 10th house. It's like a lot of my evolution is to go towards my career and like build this thing. And so, but then I also feel like that is a part of Josh and I's contract too, to have the spirit baby who's been in our fields for like the last 5 years. He's come through.
Yeah. And I think that like, it's interesting when I would talk to spirit about that. It's like, so how come there's some people that have like a one night stand and then they have their kid, and then there's some people that they go through an entire relationship and marriage and then they have the kid and then they break up, you know? And I feel like some people are just like okay with like, we're just gonna do it efficiently. We know that we're not like suited romantically, but we need to like bring that baby in. And then some people, it's like they need to kind of like go through and like go, you know, the process of a relationship to buy into it on this like human level, to get okay with it. Or maybe it takes them a minute to, you know, to try to have a child, or, you know, different things like that. Because like with my parents, like my mom got pregnant before they were even married, and then she had an abortion because she was like, I'm not ready for this. So like I like for those like who are interested, but when I've asked spirit and I've seen it confirmed with other healers, when you have like a miscarriage or abortion, the soul, contrary to Christian belief, doesn't just go away.
Yeah, I had a miscarriage like years ago, and I feel like it's the same soul, but he didn't want that as his dad.
And that's literally like, either the soul will come back as your child, or if you do not, I've seen the soul also come back as someone in your family's child, like your niece or your nephew or something like that. And you feel it. You have this like strong connection to them. That's like, what, you know?
Yeah, I can see it with, so my brother is my mom's dad. My mom's dad died when she was very young, 16. And it's so interesting because you even look at the pictures and my brother like literally looks like my mom's dad. And my niece, Julia, her soul is definitely my mom's dad's mother. And they have like this crazy bond. Like Julia's like so nurturing and like literally like my brother's mom. It's very so that piece is really interesting in like soul contracts, navigating different family dynamics. So
and when we're talking about that, Jinx comes.
She's like, hi,
I'm here contractually.
I'm your familiar.
Yeah.
Now and always.
And so that was like a whole tangent of saying like they needed to have this child together.
Yes. It is a karmic contract.
It was. It was. And like I feel bad for this child because he's spending a lot of his like early life where we form so much knowledge about our world and our subconscious and stuff like that. Being around this like toxic, they're arguing, they're not getting along, he's treating his mother like negatively. And so I think it's good that they were taking ownership of the separation and the divorce, because that's going to be a healthy thing for their child to see the mother being happy, for the father to hopefully learn and not treat women that way and not set that example as a man. And he says that, he's like, Cruz is supposed to be my kid. Like, he sees me, he looks up to me as the man, like, to show him how to be a man. And I'm not doing that when I treat, you know, Brittany like that. I'm not showing him that. And like, he always says, like, thank God Cruz wasn't in the room when I did this, because that would have really, and it's like, you shouldn't rely on this luck that you have, you know, to make, to, you know, so that your kid is okay. Like, you should do the work and really live it, be about it, so that your kid doesn't have to.
That's the Saturn on his North Node.
Yeah, it's like, be about it, be structured, be ordered, follow through with what you say that you're going to do, with the change that you want to embody and live out in your life. And that's what will show you and your kid who a man is, you know, like what the example is.
The podcast they have together is interesting, though, because they have Mercury in their 11th house in Taurus. So it does feel like there's something about them coming together and speaking and creating a platform for other people to witness their energy together.
Well, too, because it's like, we see only parts, you know, like when you're on reality TV, we don't see the full human. And like, having that additional spot of speaking candidly. And I think podcasts, it's like, you're doing it more on your own. Like, it's not like whatever the network wants you to show, or, you know, type of thing. And they even had, for a brief time, an after show that was just them two, because they were no longer on Vanderpump Rules because they had their kid. And so in the after show, like, they were just reviewing what they saw on TV from their friends being on the TV show still. So it's like, they have had this like energy of communicating and sharing with the friends group, with the community, breaking things down, showing their perspective on things. Because I don't know, I feel like even though these characters are flawed, or they have things that we don't like about them, like, they still have a perspective that is valuable, because they're living it with everyone else. And they're, you know, like, we can be flawed and still see things correctly, or whatever it is. Or it's like, we're just interested in knowing like their take on it, from coming from their, like, whatever they're carrying.
Another notable thing is that they have Jupiter in detriment in Capricorn in their 7th house, as well as Eros and Neptune here. So I feel like there's, it's almost like this foggy, the way I see Neptune is like this hazy, mystical fog. We can see it because it's spiritual principles, but we can't quite like reach out and touch it. So it does feel like there's illusions even within the dynamic, the relationship dynamic itself, that things might feel foggy or unclear. And then the Jupiter energy being in detriment definitely kind of speaks to them building businesses together, right? Capricorn. But it also feels like it's this overwhelming, sort of like what you're saying about like throwing the table. It's like, that's the Jupiterian, just so overwhelming frequency.
And so, Brittany has said that like Jax like love bombs, so that's also like an overwhelming Eros energy as well. So it's like, you can give this overwhelming, everything is going to be great, I love you, adoration. And then you can also have this overwhelming, like, oh my God, like, what is going on? I feel unsafe here. You're flying off the handle, you know, like.
They have like definitely like this toxic infatuation with each other, though. Like, they have Pluto at 0 degrees in their 5th house of Scorpio.
Oh, wow.
In their chart together.
Wow.
So it's this
sex,
like,
when the sex is good, the sex is good.
And they have also Mars domicile in Scorpio as well.
When the sex is good, the sex is good times 2. Oh my God.
And Saturn's here too, which is why I'm saying there's this karmic contract.
Yes.
To have birth.
And I think she was saying like it was good, and then at a certain point, like, I think like they've had like romantic intimacy issues for a long time in their relationship. And I think it was from like the pregnancy piece. But like, they always say if you have issues sexually or intimately in a relationship, that's a tertiary like thing. It's just highlighting the issues that are already normally inherently there.
Yeah.
And that the reason why people think the issue is sex is because that's such an important place for people and where we're most vulnerable. But that's why it's tertiary. It's like, because we're most vulnerable here, it's highlighting the issues that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And so it's hard for me to be vulnerable with you and open with you and sexual with you and trust you and all these different things if we have these issues outside of the bedroom already. And so a lot of people focus on just the issues in the bedroom, but it's like, actually what you need to be doing is focusing on like the complaints or the issues like outside of the bedroom. And if you have positive progress in that, then you'll be better in the bedroom because there will be more emotions, more empathy, more healing.
But with the Mercury Taurus, this can indicate mindset perception that is stubborn. And so I'm sure they face that in their relationship.
Yes, I think like he is stubborn about things and she'll say like sometimes he's into it and like says like I'll heal and I need to do this, and sometimes he's like that's just how I am.
And Mercury opposing Pluto.
Not wanting to have the transformation, not wanting to surrender and let go of whatever you're holding on to and be part of that process, you know, that needs to come through. And I think too, it's like the words, I think he said some things that have torn down Brittany about her self-confidence and her sexuality and her self-worth and her body. She's had like a lot of issues from him about her body and not feeling.
That's interesting. That's the 6th house is the body house.
Yeah. So she has that like when the things weren't well, she had the issue with her stomach and alcohol.
It's all an emotional imbalance. That's really what the root of the issue is. Unresolved emotions.
And that's literally the crux of their relationship is like he's not resolving his emotions and he's bringing all of this shit into the relationship and causing more issues for her even emotionally, and then she is not getting the space to speak up to be validated and to be seen because she's getting overpowered by him. And when she does speak up, he'll either be like, yeah, I'll work on it, and then doesn't, or no, I don't know, that's not an issue. Like, you need to work on, you know, like, reflect, like, passing the buck, you know, to someone else.
When really healthy communication is the evolution of their relationship because their North Node is in Gemini. And it's in a wide orb to Chiron. And
knowing he has his Mars there, too. So it's like he has to get over his shit in order to have that. Because even though they're getting divorced, or maybe by this timeline they're already divorced in present time, right? They're still going to have to co-parent. They're still going to have to communicate
and have
together.
Communication.
That's where they're moving towards.
And heal the wounding around the communication of hurtful things that have been said.
Yes, like that's their now. If the divorce is like fully 100%, it's done. Romantically, we're not going there. That's the focus of their relationship now. Now that everything has been put to bed or laid to rest, we need to work on how can we communicate the best together so that for our son, so that we can have good co-parenting for our son, so that we can, you know, because that's really what co-parenting is all about at that point, and where a lot of people struggle because most relationships don't work out because we don't have healthy communication to begin with. So now that the only thing that we're doing is just communicating with each other when we drop off or pick up or schedule, that's what becomes very hard because people bring their emotions into it and they take jabs and things. So, and I think like the fact that like he's not able to see his son unless he's supervised and she's putting a restraining order on him, that's really, hopefully he's going to realize, because like there's a, you know, up next and you know, coming up in the season, like one of the people on the show was like talking to him saying like the fact that like you can't see your son without being supervised, this should be your rock bottom moment. Like, why do you not feel like this is rock bottom for you? And I think like I think what Brittany is trying, you know, I'm sure she's doing it from a place of safety and security and all that for her child, but like in the same, like the other side of the coin, she's trying to get him to fucking realize, girl, like this is bad where you are. This shouldn't be normal. Like I will not be a part of this anymore. I'm going to fully create that restraining order to cut off from this. And while this is your son, like you don't get to influence him without someone else being present that I feel can like I trust, you know? And so it's like, for him, like, if he doesn't realize that and have that reflect on him to change his actions, especially being that Gemini Mars, to change his actions, like, then it's not gonna, their relationship together is not gonna, it's just gonna be harder. Like, he might, like, lose custody of his child, you know?
Yeah. It's volatile.
Yeah. But yeah, I do think we saw they've had past lives together. They're meant to bring this child into the world. And now they have to just, I think it's gone on a little longer than but I have an Aries moon, so than I would have liked. But I think, like, so they don't keep fucking up their child further because they think like, oh, he's missing it. He's not being privy to it. This is the time where your child is absorbing every little thing in the world because the brain is forming what they know life to be. Whether or not they're seeing it or they're hearing it, they're feeling it and they're observing.
Yeah.
And he's around, like, he was in the shot, like, on the TV show when she's, like, talking to her friend about all the stuff that Jax is doing. Like, I don't even think that's healthy to chat about your father and what he's doing while you're just, like, sitting there. Like, maybe they think he doesn't understand everything or he doesn't know everything, but it's like he's feeling it, he's absorbing it. And he had developmental issues.
And it's more destructive for a child to be in a situation where the parents are not happy versus go through I mean, it's also emotionally painful to experience a divorce as a child. I've been there. I was 2 years old when my parents got divorced.
Yeah, I was 1.
But also, I also have a lot of compassion because I understand my mom wasn't happy in that. And also, like, it just wasn't good. I mean, seeing their charts now, I'm like, I get it. Like, why it wasn't good. And also, you know, my soul had a contract as well to experience the relationship with my other dad. I call him my dad too because I was 2 years old, right? And so it's like
my stepdad came in when I was like 3.
Yeah. It's like that's because that's what we're taking in as children. And I think that yes, like there is some pain in that, but also there's a lot of beauty if you align yourself with someone who's actually going to support the truth of your soul.
I know it's like a traditional like religious like stay together for the kids, but it's like no, like
that's not what's meant for you.
You're
like,
teaching your kid to not honor their truth and their feelings and what they need.
Yeah.
And then yes, it is painful to see parents breaking up because you want your family unit, you know, as a kid, you want both your parents to be there because you love them and you want them to take care of you and all that stuff. But like then you're learning if they're divorcing because it's not working, then you're learning like, oh, if I'm not happy, I should be able to change and to move whatever is not making me happy and not be forced to live in that unhappiness because it's the right thing to do. Yes. You know, because they have done studies that like staying together for the kids is worse.
It's worse.
Yeah, because then they just grow up seeing an unhealthy relationship and thinking that that is the norm. And then they mirror those relationships a lot of the time, unless they get their own healing and, you know, all that stuff when they get older. But yeah, it's like the divorce hurts, but it allows them to see at least one parent being happy and honoring their truth and being able to, like, I think Brittany is going to blossom. Like, she already feels like she's blossoming from what I've seen in the first episode. And I think, like, she's going to realize there are people that love her and appreciate her and will treat her the way that she wants to be treated. And her son seeing that is going to be really good. And if Jax gets it together and learns how to regulate his emotions and not be volatile and not fly off the handle, and then he can teach his son how to do that too. Like, he needs to learn this for himself so that he can impart that wisdom on his son as his son grows up. Yeah. And so his son doesn't carry those same patterns that he carries with him now.
Yeah. And that's how the healing is meant to occur, right?
Yeah.
Like, being able to teach our most painful experiences. And you know what? That's a part of their growth, right? Together as a relationship dynamic because they have Chiron in a conjunction to their North Node. So it is about like healing these pain points.
Yes. It's almost like they're supposed to be on reality TV so people can see it, so then people can
yes, they have
learn.
a 10th house stellium. Of course they are meant to be in the spotlight.
Yeah. So
with their relationship dynamic, for sure.
You know, maybe people are like, dude, what the hell? Why did this happen? It's like, actually, the real work is now. The real purpose is now. I mean, obviously the kid already happened, but like them learning and growing and sharing that is going to be really impactful. You know, we see this all time and time again. The more people share their truth and their story, the more, I'm sure there's thousands of people out there like, oh my God, me too. Like, I went through this and like, I couldn't find the strength to do this. And then seeing you do it helped me, you know, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Permission giving. And also it's interesting that a man so toxic like him is also able to be vulnerable on a public platform and be sentient in moment. Like, we don't see him like following through with it. So it's like, I don't feel like it's full accountability, but like he does say accountable, you know, like, I messed up. This was wrong what I did, you know? Yeah. And so I think like that's also really healing, is like seeing a man do that and own up to it. He
loves his family. I mean, he's ruled by Venus in Cancer and in Venus's Decan, which is the Two of Cups in the tarot. It's like the love of the home, the love of... All
he does is talk about his son and like in relation to his son. And it's like, he just needs to get that piece to switch in his brain to be like, oh, I gotta be about it though. I gotta do all those things, and that's what's gonna be the most impactful for my son, instead of just thinking and focusing and like being upset at like the damage that I feel like this might be causing my son, you know? And that's what his friend was calling him in and saying, like in this one scene in the first episode of the second season, like, everything you need to be doing now should be thinking about your son. Like, if I'm doing this healing, if I'm making this change, it's for my son. Because obviously in true healing we're supposed to do it for ourselves, but a lot of people, their children are the catalyst, are the motivation that get them to do that thing, because they're like, another life is responsible for me and relying on me now, so I gotta show up, I gotta be my best self, and I can't keep playing around in these cycles that I know aren't good for me, but I've just been avoiding because it's easier, you know? And so like the kid can be a huge teacher and catalyst. Like, I'm sure even for Brittany, she's probably like, I can't keep putting up with this man because now it's going to fuck up my son. You know, like, I got to protect my son now. Yeah. And so, like, I think, like, the son is, in a sense, like, pushing them into their higher purpose and pushing them into their higher path without even, like, knowing or doing anything conscious of it. Yeah, but we would see, like, I feel like when I saw their scenes, like, in the other seasons when they were together, the son looked like he was, like, suffering, like, emotionally, and he had developmental issues, like, he didn't talk
a lot,
so,
you know, from like, even witnessing your parents in pain, you take that on, you do,
whether you know that you do or not, consciously. So his energy did feel a lot better when he was in that scene just with his mother. Like, it felt like he's like, I know that I'm okay and like I'm safe here, because it just felt like in the other, like, seeing them argue and like the son's like playing like in the next room, it's like,
how old is the son?
I think he's only a couple years old, maybe he's like 3 to 5 or something like that.
That is the age where you're really
everything like a sponge, and people think like, oh, it's fine, they're not gonna hear, they don't know what I'm saying, and it's like they're soaking that shit in, and they're subconscious.
They know.
They're like, oh, they don't know what the F word means. Like, it's like, no, they're gonna know. Oh, little Mimo. Yes.
That was fun.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy seeing their charts and my perspective?
Okay, so
being someone that has no idea who these people are.
Yeah, it's like you have no skin in the game. I feel like their charts explain so much. I think I would have thought Brittany had more Sag energy in her chart, because she is so like happy-go-lucky, wanting to have a good time, down to clown. But I also think like seeing her as an Aquarius can be like that as well. So I was like, okay, that tracks. And then like seeing like all the stuff she has going on in her first house definitely like made sense in terms of why.
Is the fun,
though. That's why I was like, oh, that's why. And then like seeing how intense his chart is made so much sense, because he is such an intense person. But it also, I felt like, humanized him a little bit more, because I feel like when people are just out here like just acting a fool like that, like many of the people on the show and his friends, it's like, why are you like this? And it's like, people think that you're just like doing it on purpose or you're like being stubborn. And it's like, he actually has this intense energy that he does deal with on a day-to-day basis, like in his chart, in his body, in his heart, whatever, you know, wherever it shows soul, up. Yes. And so like, I think like that made a lot of sense for me. Like, being like, wow, he does carry and struggle with a lot of stuff, and he's not lying or trying to manipulate when he's communicating that. It's just like, as regular emotionally regulated people, we're like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. But then like seeing like, oh, he actually does feel it so strongly. He's not like just making that shit up. Like, it probably does feel like it overwhelms him and consumes him, you know? Yeah. So that made a lot of sense. And, like, seeing, like, the lucky piece also made a lot of sense, because I feel like so many people are like, why does he keep getting all these second chances? Like, what the heck? And then seeing them together, that word that you said, volatile, like, definitely. Because I just feel like how it was at the end, it was just toxic and arguing and not hearing each other, not seeing each other. Like, yeah. So it definitely, like, I don't think that they were, like, meant to be, quote unquote, you know?
Yeah. No, so, there's a love of independence and spaciousness.
Yeah.
like in the chart, like, that does not indicate a sustainable.
Yeah. But I think that that's dynamic. Interesting that the pieces that were like interesting was like showing up for community, speaking in community, needing to be a leader and teacher in community. I think those are pieces that I'm, to see if they come out in Brittany, as we saw in her like regular chart, but then also in the synastry of them together. And like, maybe it's just seeing their story played out that affects, that's that Taurus 11th house. Yeah. But I think like, that part I'm interested to see as their relationship is clearly changing from married to divorced, and co-parenting, like how that will play out. And I'm also curious, like, to see if Jax actually does, because she's like, sometimes he says he needs therapy, sometimes he doesn't. So it's like, and then he said that he was going to rehab, he said he was in therapy. So it's like, I want to see, like, imagine if he was able to harness and master his emotions, like the Saturn is like asking of him, how would he change, right? Because he still has this lucky, charismatic, intense energy. But if you harness that in a positive way,
powerhouse. He's a powerhouse.
He could be so successful, so powerful, so magnetic.
Especially at curating like spaces where people can feel nourished and where people can feel like they're fully in their expression. Like, that is truly a superpower that he has if he utilizes it.
Right. And I think like him doing a sports bar, he does like karaoke every week, and he does, you know, like stuff like that. Like, he is trying to create that community spot where people can come, and his friends do frequently go there to enjoy. And like, his other friend, Tom, that has the Libra stellium, like, he has been working a lot with him, because I feel like the other members were like, kind of like, ooh, you know, about him. But like, Tom is such a Libra where he like won't rock the boat. He's so, that's like a whole other thing.
That makes sense though, with his Libra rising, that
he would attract someone like that.
Yeah, because Libra energy in its truest form craves the balance, and his tarot ascendant card, being that he's a 0-degree Libra rising, that's a decan ruled by the moon and relates to the 2 of Swords in the tarot, which is another indication of how important it is for him to go inward. Yeah, because that card, the figure is blindfolded. She's like this with her arms, holding the swords of truth and balance. Yeah. So
that makes so much sense. And I think like, if he's able to get support through the deep things that he's carrying and free himself from those things, he would be able to like get out of his own way, and really maybe his business would take off. His podcast even could be a space of community for others. Like, you know, like he could maybe interview other people, you know, like when someone who's gone through that much shit and is that toxic comes out the other side, they can be that's what happens to all healers. Most healers have had traumatic, intense, toxic backgrounds. Like, I used to bully my friends, I used to bully my partner, I was sexually abused, you know, like I had emotionally unavailable parents, I was abandoned, like all these crazy things. But it's like, when the soul goes through that and finds their light and finds their guidance and finds their truth and their purpose and their power, harnessing the experiences like that and being able to say, like, I used to be a bully, like, that can be like such a interesting space that's needed for people to say, like, I fucked up and I took accountability and I moved through and I decided to be someone different. I feel like there's no greater perspective than learning from someone who's actually lived it or who can understand where you're going through. That's where you feel safe.
Exactly.
Because, like, you know that they're not going to judge you and they're not speaking, like, in, like, hypotheticals, you know? Like, oh, I could understand how that could feel, or, like, I could imagine that. It's like, no, they get you. They're there with you, you know? So I feel like if he does do that, he could really step into it. And, like, Brittany, I think hers was just about finding her power, finding her voice, doing the things that she wanted to do, that she feels drawn to create and to step into. You were saying, like, she could be a teacher, she could write a book.
Literally her Chiron is in the 3rd house. It is about
speaking. Like, she needs to do, like, more being, I mean, obviously being on reality TV, you're speaking and stuff, but, like, and she has the podcast, but it's like realizing her highest potential and her full potential, like, realizing, like, on her own she can be just as powerful and just as magnetic, just in different ways.
And his wounding is in healing shared resources, right? And, like, cultivating balance, like we were talking about. His Chiron is in Taurus in the 8th house.
Well, let us know your thoughts.
This is fun.
Let us know if there's anyone else that you want us to look into their astrology chart. We really were doing, like, a lot of research because it's hard when you don't have the exact birth time.
I wanted to do Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, but Hailey Bieber doesn't have an exact birth time. And the timing that Love found,
it didn't make sense to us.
It was not making sense to me. I'm like,
the way that we were trying to, like, vet and see if it's true. Number one, you can use a pendulum if you don't know the birth time, but by, like, looking at their physical features, because the rising is, like, the self, so it's like you'll see it more. What they were saying for Hailey Bieber was a Sag rising, and we just didn't really, like, see that vibe in her physical body.
Love is a Sag rising. To give you,
like, if I stand up, you'll see how big my hips are and the thick thighs my entire life, no matter what I do. But then, like, learning,
and, like, the jolly, like, Jupiterian.
Well, and I have that more too because I have Jupiter in my 1st house, so it's like it's like exaggerated. So and, like, people always say, like, oh, you have a really nice smile and stuff like that. It's like,
the Sag energy.
Like, never had, like, work done on my teeth. I feel like that's a side tangent. So we wanted to look into her, but we think maybe she's like a Cap rising.
She's giving more Cap rising.
Or, like, Aquarius or something like that. She has to be, like, a different sign. But she also she's a Sag sun anyway, so she has, like, Sagittarius energies in her, who she will look like anyways.
I also was wanting to find Zendaya and Tom Holland because they're super cute, and they also no birth times.
I think we can do the pendulum to see, and then, like, go, like, see if it tracks. Because Zendaya is also very, like, statuesque, but in she has rounder features. So not in, like, a Virgo, not in, like, a Capricorn.
I think she is a Virgo, but
like, for the rising, you know, because
that's the thing we need is that exact time, so we can pinpoint how is everything laid out in the chart, because it makes a big difference, right? Like, if we were looking at Jax's chart and he was a 4th house Cancer sun, oh my goodness, is that a whole different expression than a Cancer 10th house sun?
Exactly. So again, we don't know the exact birth time. We're going based off of what we've seen on the internet and what makes sense to us from my knowledge and from what they look like. But this was really fun.
Yay! Let us know your thoughts. Leave us a review, please.
Pretty please. Share with 3 people. Tell 3 people about us. Leave us a review. Share to your story a video. We have, like, social media accounts. We just want to keep growing, and we want to keep sharing this information and knowledge. So if you love it, push it forward, pay it forward, please. Thank you.
And we'll see you next time, Sourciers.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Sourciers. We can't wait to hear your take on all the magic we talked about.
Follow Sourceers on IG and all other platforms to let us know your thoughts and get involved in our community.
You can also follow Love at Love Sakratoff on all the platforms.
And Tylynn at Tylynn Mackenzie, or go to my website, templeradiance.com.
We'd love it if you could leave us a review on Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts, and share Sourceers with anyone you feel might benefit from magical community right now. Hail Jupiter!
Thanks for seeing into Source with us.
Bye!